My friends and I reserved an Airbnb in San Jose to celebrate one of their birthdays. It was a property with 3 small guest houses and a main house where the owners stayed. 3 out of 5 of us arrived at the Airbnb first to get ready for dinner. As soon as we entered, I felt a strange vibe, as if someone was watching us. It made me feel a bit on edge, but I brushed it off and we went out for dinner for a few hours. When we returned to the Airbnb and entered one of the 2 bedrooms to change, I noticed something unsettling. There were no doors for the closet, and there was a small, poorly covered door on the closet floor. I made a comment about it being creepy, but we all shrugged it off and gathered in the living room. Not even 20 minutes later, all the lights suddenly went out, except for the ones in the kitchen and the TV. We heard something moving, so we turned our attention to the front door. We saw a rosary hanging on it, swinging back and forth. None of us were near it, so this really freaked us out. We started to panic and tried calling the owner multiple times, but they didn't answer the phone. Strangely, we could see their house from our window, and all the lights and the TV were on. We made the decision to get out of there as quickly as possible. Thankfully, all our belongings were still in the living room. But when I realized I had left my pants in the bedroom, I went to open the door and got an overwhelming sense of dread. It felt like something was telling me not to open it. I decided to leave my pants behind and quickly got into the car with my friends, and we left. The weirdest part is that the next day, my friend complained and received a full refund. We discovered that the Airbnb listing had been removed and the account had been deleted, but the listing later reappeared under a completely different account with a different name and phone number. I'm not sure if it was something paranormal or just a strange situation, but it was definitely a creepy experience for all of us. I was staying at an Airbnb in Iowa for my little brother's graduation. He didn't know I was going to make it, so we threw a surprise party at the Airbnb. While we were setting it up, my other brother and I went down to the basement to get an extra table. The second we got down there, we exchanged looks and said, "Yep, it's scary here." We eventually found the extra table and headed back upstairs, joking about how creepy a seemingly normal basement was. My whole family got together and the party started. While we were celebrating, my girlfriend decided to run a load of laundry in the downstairs washing machine. She was going down alone, but came back and asked me to go with her. Again, I went down and rushed to leave. The basement was now officially scary to me. As the night began to set, people got in their Ubers to return to their hotels, while my girlfriend and I stayed back to unwind. We were relaxing when suddenly the laundry buzzer went off. I looked at her, and she said she had forgotten to pick up the load from earlier. I thought it was strange that it hadn't buzzed hours ago. We headed down to the basement, but she stopped at the stairs asking me to go first. As I was going down, the buzzer on the machine went off again, scaring us, and we both jumped. I hurried down, grabbed the laundry, and we headed upstairs to let it air dry. As we finished, I could tell she was still nervous, so we decided to go through the house and lock all the windows and doors, which was standard when we visited an Airbnb. She stayed beside me the whole time. I should mention this was an oldish house, so the stairs were steep, and the bedroom where we slept was probably originally an attic. To turn on the lights upstairs, you had to flip a switch at the bottom of the stairs. I flipped on the switch and headed for the stairs. Just as I did, I heard a loud whacking sound like pots or something metallic clanging at a fast pace. My girlfriend's face was full of fear, and I'm sure mine was too. I started going to the kitchen where there was a knife, but then I heard the whacking again at the top of the stairs. I turned to look at the now illuminated attic and saw a ceiling fan turn on its highest speed and its mounting pole making the sound. I ran upstairs and turned off the fan. As we got ready for bed, I headed downstairs to turn off the light switch and went upstairs, but it was a restless night. I had dreams of seeing a shadowy figure out on the lawn, and I woke up the next morning tired. We had breakfast, packed our bags, and got ready to go. As we were doing one last sweep, I checked the kitchen one more time to make sure everything was in good shape, but just as I was about to say, "All good, let's go," that laundry machine buzzed. Both my girlfriend and I had had enough and proceeded to get out. As we were leaving in a rush, I grabbed the bags and told my girlfriend to start the car. Just then, the fan upstairs turned on again and began making the whacking noise. I'd never bolted so fast out of a house. When I got to the car, my girlfriend saw the look of panic on my face and asked what happened. I told her that the fan had turned on again. I got her out of the driver's seat and we sped off. I texted the Airbnb host that the washer kept on making noises and that I couldn't figure out how to turn off the ceiling fan upstairs. They messaged back, "Thank you for staying with us." My husband and I booked an Airbnb that was an old farmhouse. It was on a secluded road, and we were staying there in October. There was a chill in the air, and the evenings had that quiet, early dark that made them just a little extra spooky. We arrived around 9 p.m. The host had left the lights on inside, so it looked inviting and was easy to spot as we arrived with our dog. However, as soon as we stepped through the door, I couldn't shake the feeling the lights were on because there was someone still there. I thought it might be a cleaner or someone working late. Before I said anything, my husband called out, "Hello? Anyone here?" I knew he felt the same way. Even our adventurous dog, who is a great traveler, was super cautious, hanging back. We explored the house, and it was clear there was no one there but both of us, and even our dog seemed convinced that there was some strange energy lingering and we weren't alone. After watching some movies, we settled in. We set up the dog's little bed in the corner, but we had a hard time getting him to lie down. He was anxious and kept wanting to go outside and sniff around the house, but only if we went with him, which was odd. Finally, we all went to sleep. At about 3 a.m., I woke up to a light turned on in the closet. The light was a pull string, so I was very confused. The dog was going nuts, barking, and was chasing something under the bed. I thought, could there be a rat there or something that pulled the chain and ran under the bed? But there was nothing, yet the dog wouldn't let go. We looked all over the house. Nothing. Eventually, we fell back asleep, but the dog kept growling softly from time to time, which was unlike him. The next morning, we discussed everything and my husband said, "I thought I saw you in the closet when the light went on, but then realized you were asleep next to me." That's when all the hair stood up on the back of my neck. I contacted the host and hesitantly asked if they had heard anything like this from other guests. The host totally denied it, and I felt like a weirdo for asking, but something was up for sure. Creeped out, I just started talking out loud to what I felt was a lady ghost. I am not a believer per se, but this whole thing was just too bizarre to ignore. I said how much we liked her house, and we were happy to stay there. I said, "Please, don't scare my dog, and please don't wake us up if you can help it. We will be leaving tomorrow, and we appreciate that you have such a beautiful home." My skeptical husband heard me talking aloud and said, "Oh, are you talking to the ghost? I think you should. I am freaked out and the dog won't leave my side." After that, it was like the energy in the house was less uncomfortable. We still felt like someone was there with us, but it was somehow easier. The dog was even back to his old self. He had stopped clinging on to us and was running around in the yard. At no time did we feel threatened, but it was very clear that there was something there with us.